that was the greatest experience I had up in Alexandria. It wasn't the speaking, but it was the imparting of charity, and also, you know, the understanding in that we need to be there for people less fortunate.
Hey there, William Gill here. We're here live at the studio in Patterson, Louisiana. I have my friend here, Jason Bailey. And you might notice that for the last 2 episodes I had this shirt on.
Yeah.
Because we're shooting this simultaneously,
Yeah.
because we're trying to get some content out, because, you know, I'm leaving out the state to go on a shoot for a couple weeks, and I'll be going. But anyway, this is my island shirt. This is what they wear in Puerto Rico. I got little beads here. And anyway, when I was in Puerto Rico, I asked, what do y'all wear here? And the lady said, you need to wear this because it's what we wear here. So I bought a bunch of this clothes. And when I wore this out to go work, the people embraced me as part of their culture, when before I looked like an American. But this here, it says, when I wear this shirt, it says to me, William, you're on vacation. And I believe we should be on permanent vacation our whole life. You know, we need to work and make money and support our financial needs.
Yes.
Our fiduciary responsibility to our family, our church, our God, to the public. At the same time, people get hung up in their whole lives where they work, and they never get to enjoy life.
Sure.
When I was in the islands last, when I worked in the Virgin Islands for FEMA, I would always work about 12 hours, and when I got home, I immediately put on my island clothes because I wanted to feel the leisure of being in the islands, right?
Yeah.
And when I went to apply for the next position, I realized that all the people I was working with see me in the islands chilling out. And I think it messed up my ability to get rehired, because I was always on vacation instead of working. But my work ethic was like, I had a great work ethic. Just that I believe that when I'm on vacation, it's time to vacate. So my life's a permanent vacation now. I do get my work done, but I get done very rapidly, and I move on. So I'll share that with you this morning. So So now that I talked the most, go ahead.
Well,
Continue.
Look, yeah. Well, I wanted to ask you about that. How does one achieve, whether it be on a permanent vacation, a physical vacation, or what about a mental vacation? Because isn't vacation, it's not just a destination, like if you go to the islands, but it could also be a destination as a state of mind.
Yeah, that's true.
So what do you say about, how do you keep your state of mind on permanent vacation?
Okay, well, that's something that you have to train yourself to do. One of my favorite questions to ask people when I meet them is, what is your ideal scene? Like, if you could do anything you want to do, what would it be?
Sure.
And generally the people say, well, out on the beach somewhere, my toes in the sand, drinking a margarita, or in the mountains skiing. And that's great things to do, but you can't do it every day. It's a great, that's something that you can do every once in a while, but you can tell people who live on the beach, they'll go on the beach, but they don't live on the beach every single day.
Right.
I lived on the beach in the islands, and I go there a couple hours a day, go chill out, and I go back to my room and sleep and eat. All right. But it's all here. It's a state of mind. Because I asked that to one lady. I said, "What's your ideal scene?" And she said, "On the beach, drinking a margarita, sitting in my shorts, being comfortable, and getting some sun." And then she turned on me and says, "What's your ideal scene?" I said, "My ideal scene is right now, sitting down in this chair, talking to you, relaxed out at my residence."
Yes.
Everything I do is an ideal scene for me. But I've chosen that. Now, do I have to do work sometime? Yeah, we got to do.
You got to pay the bills.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm going back because I'm living the life that I need to live for me and my family and the people I'm working for, and the community.
Absolutely.
We got to give back. You give back a lot. You give back a tremendous amount. In
do.
fact, I get jealous of you a lot because you give back more than I do.
Well, there's plenty to do, so don't feel jealous.
I'm not that jealous.
Take that jealousy and we'll turn it into work. Okay.
Hold on. I'm listening to that statement. I'm not that excited about doing all that.
I do, and I really enjoy giving back, and there's more coming where that came from. There's even more that's coming. Recently, talking about public speaking and professional speaking.
Yes.
I went up to Alexandria. It was me and my 2 oldest children, Hannah and Luke. Hannah's 16, my son is 14, and my youngest daughter, she had to stay behind. Anyway, my 2 oldest children came to me and they watched me compete in a speech competition.
Yeah, for Toastmasters.
For Toastmasters, and actually
you went over time, didn't you?
No. You always I'm not Mr. Wise. So So what happened was I ended up coming out fourth place out of 3 people.
Wow.
Man,
I think that's a record.
It is, it is. And
4 out of 3.
my mother was so proud. She embraced me in a hug, but it was more like a headlock. So
Was she crying? Cause you.
no, but I was crying. So anyway,
Back to the story.
I came out third. But you know what's really cool is something I'm very passionate about is being a father. To be present to my kids, to know exactly what I'm doing to impact their future and them as parents and them as citizens of our great society and nation of the United States of America. You know, I know exactly what I'm doing as a parent. And not the best thing for me. The best thing for me up there when I was speaking in Alexandria was not that they actually seen me or that I placed third place in the third round of competition. But when we left there, we actually went down the street a couple blocks and we ran into some homeless guys. And I remember this guy, by his first name, Princeton James, a 33-year-old black male, and he came up to me and said, "Hey, do you have any food?" I said, I had a plate of food in my hand. I was like, "If you don't mind, you can have mine." I said, "However, I'm not going to give you my fork because if I had a choice, I would not eat at the meat."
I wouldn't have to you either.
I don't have a choice. So he gave me a little laugh, and I said, "Man, where are you going? You're loaded down like a mule. You know, you got your pillow and bag on this side. You got something in this hand. You got all kind of stuff, and now you got this food I gave you." And we had a few more people with us, which we gave him our plates of food. So he was like, "Well, I'm just going right over there to the Salvation Army." I said, "Okay, well, if you don't mind, we're going to lighten your load and we're going to walk with you." I didn't turn around and ask my kids, because if I would ask my kids, like, "Hey, you want to go take Princeton James to the Salvation Army?" I knew what their answer would have been. I was like, "Let's go." So we walked. Me and Mr. Brown and Hannah and Luke, we walked. It was about a block away, and we talked. And when we got over there, I met some of the best people I've ever met in my life. And it was one of the best experiences I ever had in my life, because I met about 20 guys who were sitting around at the Salvation Army in Alexandria, Louisiana. And I met, most of them were Vietnam veterans.
Wow.
Homeless Vietnam veterans. And I went and I shook every one of their hands, looked them in the eyes, and I was like, "Thank you, man. I appreciate your service." I said, "Hey, kids, by the way, this gentleman right here, he fought in Vietnam. He's the reason why we're standing on this soil today." And you know, that was the greatest experience I had up in Alexandria. It wasn't the speaking, but it was the imparting of charity, and also, you know, the understanding and that we need to be there for people less fortunate, because we have to be there for them. And that was the greatest thing, to see me doing that, not just for these people, but for what it's going to bring for my kids and their future.
Right. Great. Well, that was a good episode for today.
Yeah.
Good now. Okay, we're done. Catch y'all next time. Bye now. God bless.